Alright, here I am next to the greenhouse. I have just moved the sheep back here. There we go. There's Heidi. So I have just moved the sheep back here, and the reason is that they have taken the weeds down all over the rest of the property. I don't need to worry about a nasty bramble, brittle, sticky property now because the sheep have just eaten everything down. And now the only place left is here next to the greenhouse. If this was goats, I would never, ever, ever do it. If it was goats, they would go to all my fruit bushes and they would gird the trunks of the fruit bushes. Whereas what the sheep will do is they will eat any little sticky bits of weeds that the geese missed. You see how there's not a whole lot of weeds back here, just a few. That's because the geese were back here all year long. So they'll go along and they'll nibble on the leaves that they can reach, but they're not going to spend a lot of time focusing on the fruit trees. They'll go from focusing on fruit trees to focusing on fruit bushes to focusing on weeds on the ground. And they'll just take a little bit here and a little bit there. Sheep are so good for weed control, so much better than goats. Goats are great for brambles and trees. If you have weedy trees and brambles and stuff like that, goats are what you want. For any kind of grass, let's see if I can get Heidi where she's, for any kind of grassy stuff and ground growing vegetation, you want sheep. So I'm going to show you a little video of me taking them from one pasture to the next. The sun is really in my eyes this morning, so I have to come around the side of the greenhouse to try and get everything. But they're back here in the what's it called, windbreak hedgerow. I got a lot of poplars back here, but I've also got some blue spruce and dogwood. I've got an autumn olive, and then over on this other side I'm all cherry bushes and mulberries, and yeah, I think that's it. But I even got like stinging nettle. I don't think the sheep will really care about the stinging nettle, but they're not real weedy and unkempt, so I'm not really worried about that. I'm more worried, I don't really want, there's a lot of stalks of alfalfa that are sticking up, and those need to be cut down in order for the plant to rest for the year, and to take some of that food and put it into the sheep. We're not feeding the sheep any hay. We have 3 sheep right now, 1 ram, 2 ewes. We're not feeding them any hay right now. The hay is just going to the goats and the rabbits. We're trying really hard to conserve and be really mindful this year about our feed costs. So I don't know what else to show you guys. So right now what the sheep are getting is water and minerals, and then they're being let out to graze weeds anywhere that I can put them. Heidi, what do you have in your mouth? You got grass stuck. What are you doing? Alright, so this is the back pasture. It does not ever grow good grass, so the goats are never interested in eating it. So we put the sheep out here periodically just to keep the weeds down. Doesn't matter how we fertilize it, how we reseed it. It's mostly rocks. If you can see this. It's made out of these rocks with little tiny bits of soil in between. That's what this whole space is. So we plant comfrey out here just so that it's pretty in a line up to the cabin. And for the rest of it, it feeds the sheep without needing to feed hay for most of the year. Now, what I'm doing this morning is walking the sheep up and letting them into a new spot. They've already grazed on that side over by the truck, which is the front. So they got all the weeds up there down. Now we're going to put them, good girl. Now we're going to put them back with the fruit bushes back here. So we're, come on mama, come on Heidi. So we're gonna let them back here so that they can eat all the weeds, and they are going to trim back the grapes a little bit. Come on. Yes, I hear you. I hear you. All right. So they're going to come back here and do some grazing where the sheep, or sorry, where the geese have already kept it pretty trim right here. But you can see he's kind of excited about a new type of weed, and they want to eat all the leaves that have fallen to the ground. They'll probably eat some of the raspberries that are a little lower. He's eating the mulberry right now. So what they'll be able to do is come and eat all these little stragglers at the base of the trees. And they'll probably eat a lot of the leaves off of the cherries. But I'm gonna leave the greenhouse open even, because they'll go in and eat all the stuff that's along the side of the bed, because I haven't come out and harvested anything out of these beds in months. There's just so much food out here. And if they put their little heads up and over the sides and eat all the Swiss chard, I don't care. But I mean, we got tomatoes. Maybe I shouldn't let them come in here because of all the tomatoes. Having T-posts and cow panels means that I can move my fencing without it being permanent, without it being a huge amount of work. And so as I have pretty much standard boundary lines everywhere, but sometimes I find a spot where I really want to graze the animals really intensively for a little while, like if a certain type of weed popped up. And that's where the cow panel shine, is because you can move them, you can move the stakes, and then you can take them away again without having damaged your fencing. Whereas with woven field wire type rolls of fencing, you can't do that. They have to be stretched. I do have perimeter fencing that started out as woven wire, but I've replaced it all with cow panels as I can afford it. I'm trying to think what else to tell you guys. Sheep are amazing fertilizers for pastures. Their manure is like gold for grass. And so anywhere that I can graze them, I do graze them. And again, we eat sheep, we eat lambs. We have butchered 1 or 2 lambs this year, 1 lamb this year. And my mom took 2 of our lambs for her family. And then we've also butchered goats. We like the goats too. They're just very different animals from sheep. Try and see if I can show you what they're doing without putting the sun right in your eyeballs. So you can see one of them is in the bush, one of them is on the ground, another one is over here on the ground, and they'll just go back and forth. If it was goats in here, they would be focusing 100% on the trees, and none of the weeds themselves would get eaten. We do have training collars on our dogs. This is Willow. She's never bothered the animals. She's a more shy dog. But with Graham, he wanted to play with the sheep when we first got him. So we do have a training / shock collar on him. He only ever gets the shock if he does something he knows he's not supposed to do. If we're still in the training process, he'll get a buzz, and it'll just vibrate his collar. So it is essential with livestock that you train a dog from puppy. They have to be puppies when you get them, or they had to be trained by somebody who had livestock and knew what they were doing. So now our dogs can be out with the chickens. They can be with everything except the rabbits. The rabbits are in cages, and so the dogs have never had to be exposed to the rabbits outside of cages and to be good about that. So what they've been exposed to, they're good to stay out of. I could leave either of my dogs with all the animals except the rabbits, and they would be just fine. And they'll have all this down in pretty short order. We'll probably take them out in about 2 days. That's about how long it takes for them to get things mowed down. So after about 2 days, we will take them from this space to another space. And this was the way that we gave the geese their bathing water. Again, if it was goats, they'd still be in these bushes, but you can see they're pretty much ignoring them. So here they are at the grapes. I'm not worried about them killing the grapes because the sheep are not going to eat the bark of the grape. And it's okay to trim grapes. So what they're doing for me right now is they are trimming the grapes. They're eating the grapes. We've got grapes in there. You see that? We've got grapes in there. And you see the ones who are the most hard on fences and hard on the plants are the babies. Heidi's pretty sedate, good-mannered little ewe. He's got himself stuck on one. You don't really want to put sheep in really thorny brambles. And the reason for that is that their wool can actually get caught in brambles and get entangled in brambles, and then they have problems. They can actually die from getting wound up in brambles because of their wool. So he's the one we're going to butcher here in a little bit. We have to have at least 2 sheep in order for them to be willing to roam. If you don't have 2, they're just too shy to leave the rest of the animals, like the goats, and go roam around. What I might do is go get a cow panel and set it up against the fence, because as much as I don't care what they're doing with the grapevine nibbling, I don't want them standing on the fence. So I might just go grab a cow panel really quick. All right, you can see I just put a cow panel in front of it. What I'll do is just lean it that way a little bit and get a piece of twine. See what he's doing? So I'm not worried about the grapevine. I'm worried about the chain link. It's not really meant to take that kind of pressure. So again, cow panels, it doesn't have to be a permanent structure. It has to be good enough. They can put their heads through this and continue to eat the grapes and the leaves without hurting the chain link, and without, like, you saw at one point he got kind of caught in this. I don't want him getting caught. We have these double sets of gates at most of the junctions of our property. And that way we can keep the sheep out. We can keep the sheep out or let them through. We have one at the main entrance to the property, and then in just about every other spot that goes to or from a pasture. They're not expensive. They're just half cow panels attached to some kind of post. Are you feeding somebody?
Yeah, rabbits.
It's a little chilly this morning. My camera keeps fogging up. All right, I'm gonna leave this open, and I'm gonna just go close the front.
There was actual frost. It was starting to
Really? Nice.
Oh.
All right, so no, I'm just gonna close the front. Okay, so those sheep most likely won't come up here today. They have much more to graze on back there. But you always close the gate. So we're gonna come up here to the front, close the gate. All of our gates are made out of cow panels. They're just light and easy. You can see there's a cow panel there that we cut. And it looks like I need to retie it. Either the goats chewed on it or it just wore out. So that's why we have baling twine. So I just keep it out of the main pasture. I'm gonna take some more of these cow panels back for the sheep. And we're about 2 days away from needing to butcher the pigs because they have a little bit of greens there. Well, maybe more, maybe a week. We got a row of Swiss chard and beets that needs to be harvested for the pigs, and then we're ready to butcher them. Hi guys. So here, the gate, the entrance is a little bit wider, so we've used 3/4, or maybe this is a whole panel, I don't know. One whole panel on this side. And how do we teach the dogs to stay on that side? No. He has a training collar. She already wants to stay home. So, and then I just use those double-sided little clips, and it just works. I find that my fruiting trees, my fruiting bushes, my fruiting vines do better with a little bit of destructive pressure. So my pear that I pruned really strong, really hard every winter is just massive, and it's just amazing. My grapes that I prune regularly, mostly I just cut them out of the pear tree, are doing really well. They're really happy, really healthy. So as long as I let the sheep in here and I don't let them damage the vine itself, the vine that has strong strippy bark on it. Like the green vines, they can do what they want to with it, but the brown vines, they're thick. I don't want them hurting those. So like these, I don't want them hurting those. That's what the new vines are going to come out of next year. But they are really good grapes. These ones are Valence, something like that. They're amazing grapes. They're a Concord. They're very sweet and very flavorful this year. I didn't overwater them this year. I think I only watered them like 3 times this year. They have lots of mulch at the bottom. And ducks. See? They're being bad right there. Jumping up and breaking it. So I'm going to go get another short piece and put it there so they can't do that. So I might just push them away because I can hear the damage that they're doing. I can hear the damage you're doing. So I'm going to go get another one. Sometimes when you put them out, they don't do any damage, and sometimes they do, but just sticking around for about an hour after you put animals in a new place, you can see where they're going to push first and what they're going to damage first, and just kind of stick around, because a lot of times they'll find a hole that you didn't anticipate, and it's good just to catch it first thing before they can do any damage. And I've got enough half panels and panels that it's just not a big deal. I like to have some panels that are full and long, because those are the ones that I use for actual fencing. But the half panels, I love to use them just for this kind of spot fencing. We're moving stuff around. It means I can move things around by myself instead of needing the girls' help. So here's my little container for string. There's my crazy dogs running past, running into everything. What are you doing? And they're having a fun morning. So I'm gonna go set this up where they were. Yep. And it's usually the young animals that get the big animals to where they can't do anything fun, because young animals are gonna go in and be rough on everything and test everything. So I'm gonna get him out for a second. And when they start to be such a pain in the butt that it feels like it's just not worth it, that's when you butcher him. He's already getting close because he's a mature uncut male. We don't know if he is viable, but we thought if he was, it would be kind of fun. not to have to pay for breeding fees at my neighbors. So here we go. I'm just going to tie this up. I'll show it to you in a sec. All right, so here we are now. It's not 100% secure. You can watch him try to get up there. It feels precarious to him. But now what can't happen is he can't get his legs stuck in the vines themselves and tear the vines down. He can eat the leaves without tearing the vines down. If he gets through there, like right here, if he decided to climb through here, he still wouldn't be able to jump up on the vegetation. But I think I'm going to get one more piece of string and tie that at the bottom. So there's about a foot gap there at the bottom. If it was goats, they'd go under that and get to the vines themselves, but sheep, not going to be a problem. So that's all the way down to there. Sheep are very much ease animals. If it's too hard to get to, they'll move on to something else. And she probably won't like getting her feet caught in the cow panel itself. Makes her feel uncertain about life. So I'm going to go get one more panel to put along this spot, and then I'm done.